Hello, everyone. Good evening, and you're all welcome to this African Digital Summit, the day one. If you can get me, kindly type in the chat, yes, yes, yes. Kindly indicate in the chat by typing yes, yes, yes. Okay, perfect. That's excellent. Yes, 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 yes. Perfect. All right. So people often say online conferences can feel flat or unproductive, right? Let's actually log in, listen, and leave. But what if today didn't feel that way? So what if today sparked real though dialogue and real direction, especially about the future of Africa's digital economy? So everyone, hello, every guys. My name is Tamon Dieudonne. I'm the CEO of Tadita Group Corporation, and I'm honored to serve you as your moderator for the one of the African Digital Summit. So we are going to kick off with a very powerful journey tonight. And remember, we'll be having a 70-day of learning, sharing, and trying to imagine how to reshape and transform the African economy as far as the digital space is concerned. So our main theme for today is digital innovation, governance, and economic growth. Now, before we dive into that, I'm just going to share a few slides. Let's talk about the African Digital Conference, what it's all about, and what is our objective, our goal as far as the conference is concerned. So the African Digital Conference is a premier platform bringing together digital innovators, marketers, entrepreneurs, and tech leaders across Africa. Our goal is to empower African businesses and professionals by sharing the latest trends, strategies, and technologies in digital marketing, e-commerce, artificial intelligence, automation, content creation, blockchain, and more. So we host both virtual and on-site events across key African markets to foster collaboration and growth. Our mission is to bring the digital knowledge gap, is to bridge the digital knowledge gap in Africa by providing world-class learning networking experience through impactful events. And our vision is to become Africa's largest and most influential digital transformation conference, empowering businesses and professionals with cutting-edge digital insights. With time, we will be having physical events in these African countries. We have Nigeria, South Africa, Cameroon, Ghana, and Kenya. We've already had events in Cameroon and in South Africa, and we are hoping to have physical events in different African countries. In 2025, we are hoping to target at least 4 African countries, and by 2026, we should be targeting 7 or 8 African countries. This is the first ever virtual event we are going to be having. And of course, at the end of this event, we are believing that every participant will understand how the digital landscape operates and how they can introduce their businesses into the digital landscape. As far as our events are concerned, we are anticipating of having more than 25,000 participants, over 250 plus speakers, more than 100 partners. Of course, as of now, we will be hosting 5 events in 5 different African countries. And of course, we are hoping to have more than 30 startup companies to ensure that they are able to embrace digital marketing or embrace the digital landscape to ensure their businesses get to a certain height. Now, when it comes to sponsorship and partnership opportunities, we are actually open to anyone who feel like this movement is going to spark and is going to impact everyone, including business owners, digital marketers, and others. So if you want to become a partner or a sponsor, make sure you get to any of the administrators or the organizing body, and we are going to discuss on how you can be part of this team. Now, our target audience, as far as the African Digital Conference is concerned, include digital marketers and agencies, entrepreneurs and startups, corporate executives and CEOs, tech enthusiasts and developers, students, and young professionals. Like I earlier mentioned, our main target is 25,000, more than 25,000 participants, and our on-site conferences, we should have at least 2,000 in every country. As of now, we have 2 partners as far as the African Digital Conference is concerned. We have the Tatitago Corporation and the Hilotech Construction. So if you want to become a partner with the African Digital Conference, just kindly indicate, and we will be very, very happy to welcome you in our to welcome you as a team member or a sponsor. So becoming a sponsor or a speaker. Now, I believe majority of you have contacted either me or any of our team members requesting to become a speaker. So as of this event, we no longer accept speakers because we've already worked on the program. But again, we are going to be having subsequent events, and of course, they are going to be physical events. So if you want to be a speaker, we have our website, www.africandigitalconference.com. We have a link there where you can click on it and you register to become a speaker. We have our email address, info@africandigitalconference.com. And on all our social media handles, you can just type African Digital Conference and you're going to get access to any of our team. You send us a direct message and we will gladly reply to your message. Now let's get to the matter of the day. Today is the day 1 of our and we are going to be focusing on digital innovation, governance, and economic growth. As far as this particular theme is concerned, we have 4 powerful speakers who will be coming up to talk about this theme. And believe me, they are already CEOs. We have CEOs, we have entrepreneurs. They actually understand how the digital landscape operates. So please, as these speakers come out, make sure you pay attention and try to get what you can from each of these speakers. We were normally supposed to have 4 speakers as far as today's event is concerned, but unfortunately, one of our speakers wasn't able to make it, but we are certain or we are positive that she will be joining us in subsequent events. So we have Ms. Abiola Olowoyo, we have Prince Nabil and Mr. Abel Ejiofor. So I'm just going to give you a briefing about these speakers. So when they come up, they can enlighten more about themselves, about their businesses, and how you can collaborate with them and see how to improve on your business or actually network with them to get more insight. So Abiola is a Forbes Black member and the founder of Level Solution, a digital marketing agency committed to helping businesses achieve standout visibility and growth. She's a digital entrepreneur specializing in AI-powered marketing and personal branding. So Abiola is also the powerhouse behind Trailblazer Africa and the Luminous Circle, communities focused on unlocking digital potentials and scaling authentic influence. If you want to know more about her, you can visit her LinkedIn profile. We'll be sharing her LinkedIn profile at the end of this particular event so that you can visit her page and know more about her. Or you can visit the African Digital Conference LinkedIn page and you're going to read more. We have a good article which has been written about her. So you can read that and know more about her. Then, of course, we have Prince Nabil. So Prince Nabil is the co-founder and executive director of iValley Ghana, a leading tech and entrepreneurship support hub established in 2019 to foster economic development. He is also the managing director of Perfect Run. Prince is a visionary tech entrepreneur and business development strategist with a decade of experience driving economic growth through innovation and collaboration. Then we have Mr. Abel, who is a dynamic African growth strategist and the CEO of IWB Africa, with a strong background in electronic engineering from the Federal University of Technology, Mina. He specializes in helping multinationals and investors expand in Africa. His expertise lies in foreign investment, market entry, and sustainable development, making him a sought after business, leadership, and tech speaker. So we will begin with the first speaker. That will be Prince Nabil, who will come in and throw more light on the topic which we've just mentioned, digital innovation, governance, and economic growth. He's going to pick out a particular topic under this main theme, and he's going to dwell more on that. And after his session, or after they have given us a 10 to 15 minute talk on their various topic or what they are actually specialized in, we are now going to ask them one or two questions related to what they have shared with us. So I don't know if Mr. Nabil is I don't know if Prince is ready. Is Prince ready? All right. So it seems Prince is not yet ready. So we are going to move on to Miss Abiola.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Miss Abiola, can you get me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, can you hear me now? Yeah, can you hear me now?
Miss Abiola, can you get me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me now?
Hello, Miss Abiola. Okay, I think your mic is perfect. Over to you.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much for this opportunity. My name is Abiola. We have spoken, and I'm the digital strategist and founder of Liver Solution. And at Liver Solution, we specialize in working with companies with for digital marketing and also for personal branding. And as you have said earlier on, we today will be speaking about digital innovation for economic and for sustainable and economic development. And from my view and from my point of view today, I will be talking about AI and the aspect of personal branding in AI and also for the future of digital influence. All right, for the future of digital influence, we actually know a lot about the fact that we are currently in the era and the position of AI and the position of influence, and both comes together with the fact that we are at the center of a stage whereby we have to combine the two together to achieve either the personal branding goals or the marketing agency or probably personal goals. So for today, we'll be talking about how does digital influence or how does AI comes together or influences your digital presence or digital personality on social media. So firstly first, I'll be discussing on what is digital influence. So today, what is digital influence? Digital influence actually means this is the ability to share opinions, to drive decision and inspire actions through online platforms. So if you're not talking about how does I or personally, how does I or how does my company or how does my brand share opinions, drive decision and inspire actions? How does my brand shape opinions rather, drive decisions or inspire actions through online platform? So we have different, for instance, we have LinkedIn, we have Instagram, we have TikTok, and we have Instagram. So we believe that every platform has its own influence on people. You cannot compare the influence of people on LinkedIn to the influence of people on TikTok. Same as you can't compare the influence of people on Instagram to the influence of people on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, our goal is to you are connecting with a personality that is well known, or probably a personality that is well recommended in a form that they have a corporate world in itself. But on TikTok, we understand that TikTok is actually, I won't say it's for fun, but it actually brings in the games, it actually brings in both fun and both engagement. So if you're going on TikTok, you understand that I'm going on TikTok to combine both my playful part and my corporate world. So if you are going on LinkedIn, you understand that on LinkedIn, I have to inspire people. I have to tell people this is what I do and this is who I am. So every platform has its own centered of shifting people's opinion, of shaping people's own ideas, or probably driving people's perception. So, and also for, if you are talking about Twitter or talking about health, we are talking about a combination of corporate world, a combination of fun, and a combination of people's idea on the platform. So if you are not talking about what's the future of digital influence, for the future of digital influence, we are talking about the future of digital influence. How am I shaping people's opinion? How am I driving people's decision? And how am I building trust with what I am doing online? So for now, we understand the fact that we are in the era of AI and everybody just come online, post everything they want to do, or probably just prompt AI and get a fact and just drop it on each platform. So for as a brand or as a personality, or I would say, even if you're working with AI, you are supposed to work on the goal you want to achieve. So I said earlier that digital influence means your ability to shape opinions, drive decision, and also to inspire actions through online platform. So as a brand, if I'm going on social media, my goal should be I am shaping people's opinion, I am driving decision, I am inspiring actions. So it comes to the aspect of personal branding also in the aspect of coming to the aspect of personal branding in the space of digital influence. This personal branding means that I'm coming on social media as a personality that I want people to recognize with. I want people to collaborate with. I'm not coming into social media because I want people to just have fun. I want people to learn about me and I want to learn about people. So for me, if you actually on my LinkedIn, you understand that I have a newsletter which I connect with people. I send this, like I have a weekly and I have a bi-weekly ones that I actually share across to influence people. So what is my goal of being on that platform? My goal is I am actually putting myself as a center of stage to influence people, to shape people's opinion, and to drive decisions. I am not just putting things online to be like, oh, just for fun. I have a goal of shaping people's opinion and driving their decisions. So based on personal branding, you must be able to understand that my personal branding goals should be that I am not just going on social media. I'm going on social media to either sell myself. And there's a quote that says, if you're not selling yourself, people are selling you. So people have a perception, even if you sell yourself or you don't sell yourself, people have a kind of perception about you. So it is best to fine-tune your perception or fine-tune people's perception of you by placing yourself in a good um by placing yourself in a well defined area. I am not putting myself on social media like, oh, just connect with me. I'm putting myself that you are connecting with someone with value, someone that will have something to give you. So that's a case of personal branding. And we are not talking about AI also in the case of digital influence. We are not talking about you just going to ChatGPT to prompt something and you just copy and paste. Yeah, people will connect, people will engage, but with time, what can you sustain that in the next 1 year? Can you sustain that in the next 2 years? Can you sustain that in the next 3 years? And one of the things is AI is improving. Can you still be able to prompt this AI platform to get what you need? And also for the third part of my speaking, I have monetization. So on the case of digital influence, we have personal branding, we have AI, and we have the monetization. So how am I positioning myself for people to come into my space and actually work with me? How am I positioning myself for people to come into to probably on my social media? If you come to my social media page, can you really say this person, I want to work with this person? So in the case of monetization, how are we positioning ourselves? Am I positioning myself to be with the best? Or am I positioning myself to anything you take me to be? So on the case of monetization means that I am selling myself the right way. I am selling myself to people the right way so that I can get collaborators into my space. I can get people that have influence, people that have good things to offer into my space. I'm not just going on social media to be like, oh, it's for fun. I think we have. Am I okay with my time? Sorry.
Yes, yes. All right. Thank you very much for that. Um, Thank you very much for that insight on the future. So thank you very much for that insight on the role of digital skills in Africa's economy transformation. So we are going to move to Mr. Abel. Mr. Abel equally talk about the future of digital influence and business in Africa. So he will talk about AI branding and monetization, I guess so. So Mr. Abel, over to you.
Okay, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. This is Ejiofor. Thank you very much for having me come to speak. So I'd like to appreciate our guest who just finished her session for sharing those insights on how to leverage digital branding to scale. All right. So the thought of my conversation this evening is just going to be very straightforward with relationship to artificial intelligence. So over time, I've noticed that people who use technology tend to focus on leveraging technology as a brain power, which kind of, you know, ruins the actual power that artificial intelligence brings to the business world generally. I always encourage people to view artificial intelligence as a tool. Every component of artificial intelligence that is being used has to be used with the mindset of this thing as a tool. Nothing should replace your ability to use your brain power, your thoughts, your logic, your reasoning, being intentional about what you want to achieve for your business. It is only an experienced plumber who would use the right tools to fix a plumbing issue that you have in your house. If an inexperienced plumber comes to your house to fix a problem, even if he or she comes with a toolkit of the most expensive, finest tools, he will not be able to address your problems as much as he's meant to. With proper domain knowledge and proper understanding of the problem, you would be more positioned to leverage the tools you have to give the best outcome possible for a particular situation. Now, artificial intelligence is here. It's going to demystify a lot of things that are commonly seen to be complex. There is a world of things that we're learning we do not understand yet as to its application when it comes to artificial intelligence. But the principal thing is that a lot of people are losing their thoughts of originality. A lot of people now depend solely on artificial intelligence to solve problems for them, which is a problem. So that's the dynamics I'm going to look at. There's something called, so I'm going to use this example, right? There's something called vibe coding now, since the advent and growth of artificial intelligence when it comes to helping software developers and programming. Now, a lot of companies now look to hire vibe coders. And the reason is because they've noticed that instead of having 3, 4, 5 developers on a particular project, they can have an experienced vibe coder who relates with AI to build a particular project for them instead of having to hire 4 extra people or 3 extra people for that project, so long as they have enough time to be able to accommodate all of that. The reason why a vibe coder has an advantage is because he understands the entire process of software development. He's most likely a full stack developer. The best of vibe coders are full stack developers, unless the company is interested in hiring vibe coders for front end, vibe coders for back end, as the case may be. So, but organizations that are trying to improve efficiency by improving productivity and reducing time would most likely go for one who is fully experienced both with front end and back end, which is literally what artificial intelligence exists to do for you. It exists to help you to increase your productivity while reducing the time it takes you to churn out that level of productivity. So for you to be able to get the best of results, for you to be able to get the best quality of output that you're going to get from that tool, you need to be able to interact with it at a particular level of knowledge, a particular level of experience, a particular level of intelligence. Now, with the openness of this concept abounds a plethora of opportunities in the digital space, which is where I'm going to now talk a little bit around digital branding. But I'm focusing primarily on helping people understand what the power of artificial intelligence is for them and how they can best apply it to solving problems. Now, back to the example I was giving about a vibe coder. So what a vibe coder does now is he understands how to query the engine, whichever one he or she is using, Copilot, ChatGPT, whatever, to solve a particular feature problem or programming challenge that he or she faces. But if there is a process of maybe AI hallucination or any kind of error, the person can go through that code that is provided by the artificial intelligence engine and say, okay, no, there is a problem here. How about you tweak this in this particular way? How about you tweak this in this other way? There is now a measure of understanding and a step ahead to provide more excellence, more productivity, and improved version of outputs, because the person communicating in this instance has a depth of experience. So he's not dumb. It's not like he doesn't know how to code. If you give just a random person who doesn't know much about programming and tell the person to use AI to build maybe a website or something, there's going to be an output. It might run, might compile, might look okay, but it won't give you a level of excellence. And when you need the application for complex based problems, you won't be able to resolve it, because those kind of problems require domain knowledge for people to be able to leverage artificial intelligence to solving that problem. Now, having established this Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, apologies. I think I had an obstruction in my network there. So, having established this background for understanding the role of your knowledge, and can you still hear me?
Yes, loud and
Okay,
clear.
okay. How about my video?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, great. So, with that understanding, it now requires you to know. So I'm going to talk to two sets of my audience now. I'm talking to employers of labor and skilled individuals who are trying to leverage technology in their businesses. So for anybody who can break down, so I'm going to use a sample problem of maybe a business owner who has who sells stuff on maybe Instagram or has an e-commerce platform where he or she is listing products and things like that. And then maybe the CEO or chief technology officer or HR of another organization who is seeking to hire talent. It is now time that we begin to incorporate a dense knowledge of technology use into the quality of talents that we hire in our organizations. The reason for this is that one of the most efficient ways for an organization or a company to increase their revenue is by improving on speed and productivity. So when there is that balance of that kind of efficiency, a lot of other things tend to go well. There are several other components that we need to focus on to ensure that a business is profitable and it's growing and it's doing well and all of that. Nevertheless, efficiency when it comes to productivity and time is a very critical factor that cannot be overlooked. Now, one of the things that can help a company or a business achieve that is getting people who have a very, very advanced understanding of technology use. Now, I will not go into complex applications of artificial intelligence. Let's just stick with the generative AI that we know, leveraging LLMs, right? Large language models that is prevalent now. Things like ChatGPT and maybe Grok, ChatGPT, and the rest of them that people are more used to at the moment. Having a person who can whisper to artificial intelligence or prompt artificial intelligence, in addition to that person being very experienced in their field, will give you a high level of speed. If you hire a business development manager who is very good with understanding how to use artificial intelligence, the kind of productivity that business development manager is going to give to your company is going to be significantly higher, because he or she is going to understand how to leverage that technology to solve business problems for you that would have taken longer time and less measure of intelligence. What artificial intelligence does to you, for you, especially things like ChatGPT, is gives you access to smarter opinions, greater thoughts, a robust set of data, examples in the past that you can tailor and apply to your peculiar situation to get the best possible output for that particular situation that you're facing. So when you have a person who wants to solve a sales related problem, for instance, there's an issue the person has noticed with the sales of a particular product line, and the person is able to identify that, okay, it seems like we've been targeting the wrong audience for this particular product. Now, how do we efficiently launch a campaign that will enable us retarget another audience? Which channels would be the most efficient for us? That means which ones will cost us the least and give us a higher output or a higher outcome? And what is the timeline it will likely take? What are the things I need to put in place? Now, I'm able to break down this big problem of we're not making sales into these singular areas that I'm talking about, because I have a good understanding of what driving a particular product or service to market is. Now, not minding how much access a person who does not have this domain idea of the industry has to artificial intelligence, the person will not be able to solve that problem as much as I would. Because when I am discussing, or when I'm sourcing answers, or when I'm brainstorming, or when I'm researching, I have a direction. I know what, to an extent, the problem is. I have an understanding of what the possible challenges are. I know what I'm trying to solve. Unlike somebody who just come in and type in a bunch of lines to the AI, expecting to get an improved result. So a business owner might ask me, how well do I, what's the most efficient way for me to know a person who has this kind of an experience during my hiring process? So I'll go back to this. So for me, what I've noticed is that the best way to hire is by referrals. Now, some people think that maybe if you're hiring to fill a lot of positions, getting referrals would be difficult to fill up all those positions, but that's not true. So I'm going to talk about two things while I'm on this topic now. As a business owner, build a large network of people who work with talents, right? For us, it's less of an issue because we have iWB-Africa, and iWB-Africa is talent-based. So we're building talent across several industries: technology, leadership, business. So we have a pool of talents. We have a pool of talents that are always going through trainings, are always willing to volunteer at events, volunteer to companies, volunteer for projects and things like that. So we have people, we have experienced people, we have people who have been in our funnel for a long time. So it's not difficult for us to be able to assess talent. Now, for a business owner who does not have that kind of access, it's good to have people that have that kind of access with them, so that when you are looking to hire to fill a position, you can easily ask those people for recommendations to fill up your roles. Tell them specifically what you're looking for and ask them to help you source for those talents. If you can do that, it cuts your hiring costs significantly for starts. It also gives you access to people whom you can confidently understand what their progress or growth has been so far and what to come after that. So that's one way you can leverage referrals. But if you're going through the normal interview routes or hiring process, I'd recommend that you give them a task to carry out and then send in the report or result of that task. And when you're sending that task sheet, let them know that they are at liberty to leverage artificial intelligence to solve that problem. If there's any organization that is still having issues with his or her staff, members of staff using artificial intelligence, then that's not right at this time, because you get the best of people who have both domain knowledge and an advantage of artificial intelligence at their disposal. So give them a task, let them know they have the liberty to leverage artificial intelligence. So most times, let the task come from somebody that is higher in rank in the company. So for instance, you're trying to hire a sales rep or you're trying to hire a marketer, maybe let the PDM have to give them that task. If you do not have a PDM, you could liaise with the BDM of a partner company or a friend who has access to a BDM or something. Outsource, look for somebody within your network that can give you access to an experienced professional in line of that particular role you want to hire, and say, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to test a person's ability to solve problems leveraging artificial intelligence. And can you give me a use case of what the person can do and the processes involved and how to go about it? So the person will guide you on what to do. Let the person you're intending to hire go through that task. When they come for the oral interview or physical interview or video interview, whatever is the direct facing level of your interview, ask that person to tell you how they achieved the results of that task that you gave them. So this is the hack. Even if you're hiring like 20 people and you're trying to maybe send out interviews to maybe 50 people, 30 people. I'm talking about volume now. There are a lot of people. So you're wondering, like, how do I have the time to go through everything that they've done and things like that? The hack is your focus is not on what they've done. You don't even have to read it. So when it is time for their physical interview, all I need you to do is to ask them how they achieved the results that they achieved. Now, this is a psychological process because anything a person cannot break down to the most digestible bits, they are not so experienced in it. If a person cannot tell you, so when they ask you, when they give you an answer, for instance, how did you come up with this marketing campaign? And they tell you that, okay, so we did a market research. How did you do the market research? So we used the top-bottom market research, we used an inside-out market, whatever they try to say. Once they are able to break it down to the least point of definition for that particular concept, they have a good understanding and a good grasp of what they are talking about. So even when it comes to the promptings that they used, you can ask them those questions to be able to understand how well they were able to go into explaining their process of doing things. Even if they might be a bit wrong, once they're able to follow through that flow of thoughts and be able to present that to you, you are in good hands and every other thing can be improved. Secondly, when you're hiring people, focus majorly on their attitude more than you focus on their aptitude. So as much as you're looking for people that have these skill sets, you're also trying to make sure that that's why you're asking those kind of the how questions. When you ask how questions, it explains to you, it gives the person an opportunity to explain to you the process through which they achieve the kind of results that you're seeing. So they're not just talking about what they know, they're talking about how they know it and how they were able to do it. So that's that for that. If you're a business owner, you're looking to hire, leverage people who have a good understanding of technology and tools like artificial intelligence tools and platforms. They will help you significantly drive progress and growth in your business. Now, for the last 3-4 minutes that I have, let me talk to skilled talents who are looking at ways that they can improve their experience or knowledge with using artificial intelligence. So there's something called AI prompting. If you've never come across it, go research on it, and it will enable you understand how best to prompt artificial intelligence. Because when you understand how a thing behaves, when you understand how a thing processes things, it will enable you know how to communicate with that thing. So there are a lot of videos that guide you on AI promptings that are available right now on YouTube. Some people have created some short courses on helping people with AI promptings. Yes, so you could go check them out and understand how best to prompt artificial intelligence. Now, what you should be looking at is, while you are doing that, is what the future of your particular role could be with artificial intelligence. Now, I believe very much that AI is going to replace a couple of roles, especially leveraging this digital economy that we are in. Nevertheless, it will hardly eradicate some pivotal roles. The reason for that is because artificial intelligence still needs a human to contribute to its flow of thoughts and quality of output. Now, what will happen is the number of people would reduce. So instead of hiring 5, 6, 7 people, you can hire one person and add artificial intelligence to it, and the person will be able to do what those 7 people were not even able to do in a shorter period of time and give a better output to that kind of project. So while you're improving yourself on prompting, think of what the future of your particular role could be if there was an artificial intelligence tailored to that particular role title that you're occupying. Now, see how that AI gets to solve that kind of problem and identify what is the human gap required for that AI to perform that responsibility or task to that extent, and then build yourself to fit into that role that will be required as a human. So if you've ever seen AI as a hack for hard work or consistency, or commitment, then you're mistaken, because it's still people who have these core qualities, which is why I advise business owners to look out for people who have aptitude. Look out for people who have great attitude more than their aptitude when they are trying to hire, because this still boils down to these fundamental things: commitment, discipline, hard work, consistency, not minding the measure of technology you have available to you. These fundamental qualities will enable you become a better fit for organizations when you're out there seeking to fill up roles. So this is my 10 minutes on contributing to how business owners and young people leveraging artificial intelligence and technology can help build businesses and companies across the continent of Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that insight. Okay, so while I'll be asking a couple of questions, if anyone has a question, you can direct them to any of the speakers. And I'm going to read the question through the chat so that they can actually answer the question. So while we are waiting for our next speaker who is having some technical issues, I'm just going to throw one or two questions to the speakers. Let me just bring them up. So I'm going to be asking a few questions, which I believe all right, so I'll be asking some few questions to the speakers. All right, so I will be directing this question to Mr. Abel. So, Mr. Abel, you mentioned AI and branding earlier, and how you mentioned AI and branding earlier. So, how can African content creators and entrepreneurs use AI tools right now without needing big budgets or advanced tech teams?
Perfect. Very interesting question. So the beauty of this is the fact that I commented on it earlier on. Now, AI will help you cut down your ad budget significantly. I don't want to give a percentage, but let me say very, very significantly if you are interested in putting in the work to achieve that. So, for instance, you want to run a campaign. First of all, define your goal. What do you want to achieve? What does success seem like to you when it comes to this campaign? So let's say as a content creator, you want to target, who can I use as an example now? You want to target people. So you sell, for instance, shoes, footwears, or you, let me say you're a business owner who creates content and you own a podcast. Yes, so that's what I'll do. I'll use instead. You own a podcast, and your podcast talks about lifestyle, how people can leverage luxury lifestyles in your country or in the continent of Africa or all around the world. And then what does success seem like to you as a content creator? I mean, break it down. What does success in the next 2 weeks seem like? What does success in the next 1 month seem like? What does success in the next 4 months seem like for you? You identify that. Who are the people who you need for them to see this content? Who do I need this content to be in front of? You identify that, you write it down. What do I need to do to get this content in front of them? You write it down. Now, when they see my content, what do I need them to do next? Is there a call to action that I have to give to them? Is there a particular project I have that I need them to go and watch or pay for? Am I going to direct them into a particular sales funnel? What exactly is it that I need them to do? You identify it. Now, everything I'm talking about now, you're writing it down. You now ask yourself, problem one, what kind of content do I create? The kind of lighting I should use, the kind of language I should use, how long should the content be? Should I start with short form contents or long form contents? What platform am I going to leverage for those contents? You see, you have enough questions. You've broken down your questions. You've written them down. I'm using this as an instance. Now, when you go to artificial intelligence, you can confidently go to AI and ask your questions one after the other. Now, so you tell, when you have understood what prompting seems like, you'd present your question to the AI as though the AI is you. So you are a content creator based in, say, Lagos, Nigeria, and you're seeking to start a podcast that will be targeting so and so people who are in so and so industry, and your podcast will be talking about so and so thing. What is the most productive way to run your content? Either short form or long form content. So you've given it an understanding, you've niched it down to a particular area, you've made it understand what the goal should look like and what you're trying to achieve. Then you ask a question. It gives you your reply, you note it down, and you ask a follow-up question. It will take you time. You need to focus, follow through with the thoughts, note what it's telling you. And then when you are done with that, for your platforms, begin to look out at the algorithms of your platforms. So I noticed recently that most platforms has modified their algorithms. LinkedIn has modified hers. TikTok has. I think it's only Facebook that the algorithm did not significantly change. But Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn that I know of has optimized the algorithm to an extent. Now, understand what the operation of these platforms are, what, for instance, posting time looks like for them, what time your audience are mostly online, who are the people you have in your audience, are you going to be speaking more to your audience? So everything I'm saying boils down to basically being able to break down your problem into bits and asking the right questions to be able to answer those, asking the right questions to be able to figure out the solution to the problems that you're having. Now, when that is resolved, you begin to try out the things that artificial intelligence has told you to try out. Try out, test, repeat your process. Try out, test, repeat your process. Also, there are a lot of tools aside ChatGPT that will help a business owner who is into content creation or something related to that. So there's a plethora of tools that you can use, both for shooting your content, for helping you with maybe the if you intend to use maybe a prompter or something like that. There are a lot of prompting apps that will enable you writing the words of everything, transcript of everything you want to say, and you can be recording and be speaking at the same time. There are a lot of tools now available that enables you edit videos in a very short period of time. There are a lot of tools that will help you monitor what the stats of your video performance is online. Literally every particular thing you want to do when it comes to content creation, there's a tool that has been created to help you solve that problem. So you won't be able to find it if you don't know that that's the problem, and you won't be able to ask the right question for you to be able to find out too. So break down your questions, ask the right questions, research them, then figure out the tools to help you. Try, repeat the process, and continue to improve as you go on. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much for that insight. Okay, so we have Prince Nabil, who has just connected with us, who is one of our speakers as well. So we'll be giving the floor to Prince Nabil to equally dissect and talk a little bit about innovation, that's digital innovation, governance, and economic growth as well. I think he has one or two to share with us as far as our theme of today is concerned. Mr. Nabil, over to you, please. Prince Nabil, can you get me? Bill, your mic is muted. All right. So why Prince is to adjust his technical issues? Let me ask this question to Miss. So, Miss Abiola, do you think digital upskilling programs like digital marketing programs, e-commerce training sessions, artificial intelligence across Africa are aligned with our vision, or are we just producing more digital job seekers instead of job creators? Do you really think these which we are trying to ensure people are aware of are in line with our vision?
All right, thank you. Okay, for my side, I would say right now, most programs are focused on the volume, not transformation. We are creating users, we are celebrating numbers, but we are not really creating or probably generating people or probably generating students that will create another the next ChatGPT. We are not creating people that will create the next DeepSeek or probably creating people that will create the next Perplexity. So one of the things I see in how Africa is the fact that we are just producing more people that can use what the Western have actually produced. And we as a continent, we are not really focused on creating people to, we are probably training people to create what we need in the next 5 years, or probably what Africa need at the moment, and which is actually digital transformation. So for me, I would say right now, based on the fact that most of the tech, ed tech, actually celebrating number, which is like 5,000 youth. I train these people, but not really identifying that these people have trained, have created this app, these people have trained, have created this software. So for me, I would say instead of us looking at the fact that training people to use all these tools, we can actually put into use how we can actually create platform to create people that will create the software that we will use as a continent or probably as a country itself. Instead of upskilling people for usage, we should upskill people for creating the software, creating the app. So that's from my own side. I would say that's instead of us creating people to use, we should create people to create or train people to create softwares.
All right. Thank you very much for that insight. All right. So, Ms. Nabil, are you good to go?
Hi, good evening to you and everyone listening. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. I had some technical challenges, but I think I'm good to go. So can you hear me clearly now?
Yes, we can get you loud and clear.
All right, fantastic. So I think I'll start by touching on the theme. You first of all asked that I touch a little bit on the theme, which is innovation, governance, and economic growth, right? And so for me, my perspective is that innovation, governance, and economic growth work together. It's not some form of pillars that stand in isolation. I think that they come together to create some form of connection, some form of a force that's supposed to work in sync for Africa to be able to transform. And so we have technology just as most people think, but innovation for me is a new way of thinking. And innovation is when a young person in, say, Cape Town, or a young person in Abuja, or even in Tamale is able to build a mobile app or a platform that would help farmers to access market, or, a group of young people being able to use WhatsApp, for example, to sell their products and services globally. And so for me, that is innovation. It can come from a grassroots level. So we cannot also talk about innovation without governance. And so, what governance for me is also like a car. If you talk about innovation without governance, it's more like, driving a car without a steering wheel. And so we need some form of rules and regulations. We need some form of inclusion, some form of data protection rights that would come together to make up innovation for us to be able to move towards impact. And so when it comes to governance, we can say, governance is us being able to set some form of enabling policies, some form of public data that will be open, or funding for local ecosystems to be able to build the potential we have in Africa. And so when this come together, that would then lead to the transformation we want. That would then lead to the economic growth we want. And that's where we'll see the numbers adding up for the GDP of Africa collectively to be able to grow and become more sustainable. And I believe that Africa is the greatest asset we have right now. It's a resource, and we have to come that collaboratively build Africa and get the dreamland we want.
Mr. Nabil, you still there?
Yeah, hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can get you.
Okay, great. So in a nutshell, I would say that's my opinion when it comes to the theme for today's event.
All right, thank you very much. Now, in 1 minute. All right, so in respect to moving from tech consumers to creators, what's the missing link to make that shift happen, in your opinion? Is it all about funding, education, policy, or mindset?
Yeah, so in my opinion, I would say that all three still work together. When we have the funding without right policies to shape, to marry the two, that is when we'll be able to. We need more funding opportunities. We have a lot of them, but we need more funding, some form of policies that would, help build that enabling environment we want. And we also need government agencies and private partnerships. And this is what I think that we are not doing so well, where the private agencies and government institutions come together. And so you would find that in Africa, we have a lot of institutions working in isolation. And that's one of the reasons why there's a disconnect when it comes to our growth in technology and innovation, and also building sustainable startups. So I would say that collectively, these pillars should come together to make up what we want.
All right, thank you very much for that insight. So we have a couple of questions. We have a couple of questions from the attendees. So I'm going to begin with this question is directed to Mr. Abel. So Julius is asking, what is the name of the icon prompt? The icon prompt on YouTube that was mentioned earlier on. Abel? I don't know if Abel can get me. All right, so I'm just going to ask, let me just ask this question. This question goes to everyone, to all the speakers. So I just want to ask this question. Are there any examples you've seen of AI helping small African brands grow or monetize faster? Let's start with you, Prince Nabil. So I'll take the question again. So are there any examples you've seen of AI helping small African brands grow or monetize faster?
Hi, thank you very much for the question, moderator. So
All right, it seems Prince Nabil's internet connection is not the best. All right, so Abiola, can you enlighten us on that question?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a lot of us actually use AI at this moment. So I would say, even if we don't really have a company to point out to at the moment, or a lot of us have a company, we as a person, we use AI every day. So it's actually adding to what we do. So if we, even if we cannot point like I have a company like this, we have ourselves to pinpoint to that I am using AI and my company is using AI. So for me, I think that answers that question.
All right, thank you very much. All right, guys, so we are still open questions. If you have a question, please feel free to ask your question in the chat and we will redirect the question to any of the speakers. Any question from the audience? Any question? All right, so if there are no questions, I will request the speakers to drop their LinkedIn handles in the chat so you all can connect with them. You can learn more from them, like we earlier mentioned. We have CEOs, we have business owners who will be speaking as far as the African Digital Conference is concerned. So feel free to connect with them and try to get more insights of what they do and how AI has actually helped them to introduce their businesses online and to help them obtain growth. All right, so Mr. Simon Toge, your hand is up. Do you have a question? Kindly ask your question in the chat and I will redirect your question to the speaker concerned. Mr. Simon? All right, let me bring you up. All right, Simon, you are free to ask your question. Simon, can you unmute your mic?
okay, I think Simon just shared his question in the chat box. So,
Okay.
And the question was directed to me, so I'll just go ahead and answer it.
Okay.
Can I go on?
Yes, free. You're free, please. Yes, you can go ahead. All right, it seems Prince is having some issues. So I will read out some questions here. Please, any speaker can answer. So this question is
Okay.
coming.
Hello.
Okay. Yes,
If
go
you can
ahead.
hear me, I think Simon's question was directed to me, so I'll just go ahead and tackle it.
Okay.
Can I move on?
Yes, go ahead, please. Hello, Prince. Nabil, are you there? Seems we can't get you.
Yes, I'm here. I think I have a much better network now. Is it okay?
Yes, please.
Okay, so I believe Simon wanted to understand how innovation can easily be attained for people at the grassroots level. And he stated that looking at the fact that most urban communities in Africa usually get most of their attention and support, right? And I think sadly, that is the truth we are faced with. But for us to be able to make innovation truly accessible, especially at the grassroots level in most countries across Africa, we'll first of all have to start by decentralizing access. And so we need to be intentional about redesigning certain systems around our local, realities, for lack of a better word. And we have to be deliberate about also investing in creative spaces in the rural levels. And so one of the examples I'll give is that when you come to Ghana, for example, across the country, we have innovation hubs and tech spaces across all the 16 regions of the country. And so this makes it easy for, you know, development partners and government to work with these innovation spaces across these regions to be able to take opportunities to the grassroots level. And so once there's that form of decentralization, it makes it easy for access when it comes to opportunities, not just innovation only. Um, Off the top of my head, I also think that when we are able to localize innovation, so we have to first of all present innovation in a form that is in a local language for certain areas where language might be a barrier, because not everybody can speak English, not everyone understands English. And so when we are able to, translate innovation, take opportunities and tailor them for the people in the rural communities in a language they understand. Example would be farmers or, maybe smallholder businesses. These people would need some form of localized content, and that would also help them get a better understanding of what innovation is, thereby being able to tap into the opportunities that might be presented to them. And we have to also look at training community-based innovators. If we are just focused on the urban areas, then a large number of innovators will not be able to grow. And so we can be intentional about, putting up some boot camps and, hackathons in local areas for young people with innovations in these areas. And so I think that these are some of the things we can do to be able to take innovation to the grassroots level. And lastly, I would also say that we need to look at policy. So the governments must include policies specifically focus on rural innovations that will contribute to a national development plan. And so this is not just going to be for the urban areas, but it's going to be specifically designed for peri-urban areas and the rural areas. And I think that would contribute to development greatly. So I don't know if Simon's question is properly answered.
Hello, please, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. So let me clarify my question. So, my question is about whether digital marketing being an IT function or marketing function. Why? Digital marketing is actually subset of communication and that of IT. So to be a digital marketer, do you have to be a pure IT literate? Or you should know or be a marketing literate? That's what I want. I want clarification on it. Do you get it, please? Prince Mahama. Hello.
Yes. Hello, Prince Nabil. I think the question was still directed to you.
Yes, hello. Can you go ahead? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So look, was answering was actually coming from Fasena. So Simon, you can go ahead with your question. I think I missed that one.
Okay. Please, can you hear me, Prince Mahama?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. So I'm also in the digital marketing world. Okay. I've noticed that
All right.
anytime people hear digital, they think it's much of coding. You have to build a website. You must know how to software, hardware for you to do digital or execute digital marketing. And I would like to know your insights concerning whether digital marketing is being or is IT function or marketing function. Do you get it, please?
Yeah, I get your question.
Yeah, I
Yes,
think
so
Mr.
Maybe
Mahama is
I didn't get the last part of the question. You want to know if
right. So he's asking. He's saying
what
that
is
when people hear, let me
okay.
rephrase the question. Yeah, let me rephrase the question. He's asking that a lot of people, when they hear the word digital marketing, they think that digital marketing is, which means that if you want to become a digital marketing expert or digital marketing professional, you have to pass through the process of coding. So he's asking if digital marketing is gearing towards, is it actually gearing towards the tech section or towards marketing? So that's his question.
Okay, great. So first of all, I would say the answer itself is in the question. There are two words that come together, digital and marketing. Marketing, we have forms of marketing. And the most common form of marketing is the traditional marketing we all know, which is radio, television. You can, use print media, that's the newspapers and what have you. Now, unfortunately, the issue with this form of marketing is that you are unable to quantify your audience. You can't tell the number of people that were listening to you at the time you were speaking at the radio station. You can't tell the number of people that saw your advertisement on a billboard. And so that form of marketing, what we are saying is that there's a new form of marketing. And this form of marketing is focused on using digital tools to be able to get your products and services across without geographical boundaries being an issue, right? And so digital simply means that being able to use the tools available either through the internet, the technologies we have. Okay, so I sort of lost connection. So as I was saying, digital marketing simply means that using the tools we have digitally, the technologies we have. It could be Facebook, it could be Instagram, TikTok, WhatsApp business, and so many other platforms collectively. It could even be your website, search engine optimization, among other platforms and tools. Tell the world, to tell your audience, to tell your target, your customer base about your products and services. It's simply digital marketing. So when you hear digital marketing, this is what it means. And so it's not something that is extremely complicated. But of course, there are forms of digital marketing as well. Search engine optimization, as I mentioned, is one form. And so someone can specialize just on search engine optimization. Another person can focus on social media ads. Someone else can focus just on websites and email marketing. So even when you come to the digital marketing, there are so many aspects, but collectively putting all this together, it makes up digital marketing. And so it's not some form of robust, complicated technology. It's very basic. And if a local woman in a remote community still has access to a smartphone and internet and can use WhatsApp Business to promote their products and services, that is still digital marketing. And so they do not have to be a professional to be able to do it. But of course, if you want to scale at a certain pace, hit a certain target, then you will need a professional on that level.
All right, thank you very much for that insight, Prince Nabil. I don't know if the question of Simon has been answered. Simon?
Yes, he has actually answered it, but there is a follow-up question. So, Prince Mahama,
Okay, go ahead.
You are in Ghana. I'm in Ghana too. So, do you think that digital innovators or innovators in Ghana or Africa pay attention to the marketing side of entrepreneurship? Maybe based on maybe facts or observation. If they don't, what is your advice to digital innovators concerning marketing?
Every entrepreneur, that is, yeah. So I was saying that every entrepreneur, first of all, is supposed to be a salesman. You should be able to sell your own product, your own services. You should be able to sell your business, your work, and whatever it is you do. And so automatically being an entrepreneur means that you should understand marketing. And once you're an entrepreneur, to be able to build, grow, scale, and be sustainable, you need to understand every little aspect of your business. But of course, as the business grows to a certain level, you can have professionals that can handle these things while you focus on the bigger picture. But at the initial stage, or in the spirit of every entrepreneur, marketing and sales is part of the core. And so what I say is that the answer is yes, every entrepreneur is supposed to be a marketer and a salesman.
All right, thank you very much for that. Any other question?
No, please. Thank you.
All right. Let me just go through a couple of questions here. So Abubakar Idris is asking that, are we getting access to business tech network as part of this collaboration or conference opportunity, or let's just let me just call it a virtual summit? All right. So this question is asked by Abubakar. So Abubakar, what will happen is that there will be a forum. It's going to be an open forum, which we are going to create, where speakers, participants can come together to network, to share ideas. People can talk about what they do, and you can try to exchange ideas together. Please, we want the forum to be kept in a professional way, okay? Only try to communicate with people. We don't want you, if you're selling your business, try to do that in a professional way. We don't want people sharing links. Please, no sharing of links in the forum. If you want to share links, you can do that individually. We don't want situations where people will get be scammed, or have people can get access to their various handles. Okay, so the only links that will be permitted to be shared in this forum is the social media handles. You're free to share your social media handles. You can talk about your business, but don't share any link for any website. Let's try to keep it in a professional way. You can ask questions and try to interact as far as this is concerned. And at the end of this summit, we are going to close that forum. And we are going to leave it open just for an hour after the session so people can interact. You can share ideas as far as these events are concerned. So I don't know if there are any other questions. Please, we've shared the link to the social media or the LinkedIn profile of the various speakers, so you can connect with them on their LinkedIn profiles. I think that is the best platform you can connect with people in such a setting. And I'll be sharing the link to this particular event, the participation link, so you can make sure you fill the form, make sure your names are spelled correctly, your emails. So in case we are to provide a certificate of participation, we are going to be using this particular form to do so, because we only want those who have actively participated in this particular event, or right up to the end, as from day 1 to the 13 or day 14, that will be issuing certificates of participation. So make sure you fill the attendance sheet. I'll be doing that shortly. If you have another question, please feel free to ask. Let me see if any other participant has raised the hand. Please just indicate with the hand show. So we have 10 minutes to end this particular day 1. So feel free to ask your question, if any. And we are hoping the subsequent days will run smoothly. So many people have difficulties connecting, so I'm sure do so by All right, so the form will be coming up shortly. And one more thing, the way you fill the form, that's how your name is going to appear on the certificates. All right, that's how your name will appear on the certificate. So make sure you fill it the right way. We are attending to questions. I will share the link right now. So one more thing, within the course of our summit, we are going to have a workshop as well, which we are going to look at some of probably digital marketing modules. So we are not only going to have the panel discussions and the speakers, the keynote speakers, we are going to have workshops as well. So please kindly connect with the speakers, their LinkedIn profiles, or you can search their name on Facebook and Instagram. They are all available on Facebook and Instagram. You can find them on Facebook and on Instagram as well. All right. So I want to thank each and every one of you for joining today's session, and a special thanks to the speakers. I know this is the first day, and of course, we always have these technical challenges, but I'm very sure that from tomorrow, we are going to adjust all the glitches. We are going to ensure that every other participant is able to connect, and we are going to really have a full house of attendees and speakers for tomorrow's event. Don't miss out on the next event because it's really going to be powerful. We have very ladies who will be grazing the floor tomorrow, and it's really going to be an interesting um, event tomorrow. So don't miss out on tomorrow's event. Make on the links and register on the attendance sheet which I have just shared right now, and make sure you connect with each and every speaker in the house. Thank you all once again for joining, and see you guys tomorrow. Make sure you fill the attendance sheet before you leave. We are going to leave the chat open again for the next 5 minutes, and we are going to end the session. You are free to ask questions, or you are free to share your thoughts in the forum, and I believe someone can answer those questions in the chat as well. Thank you all, and see you guys tomorrow. I remain Tamon Dieudonne. Bye-bye for now.